We back on gaming. You know what? Ever since this morning when I saw, I could not wait to get back today and address these issues. I just couldn't. I got so many things I need to address. I need to say, but before I get started on our current stuff, I need to go back and address some things that was said last week. That's right, in the video that I did last week to Tim Schafer, in the comment section. Alright, there's some things that were said that I felt, maybe I'm just not being clear enough. I thought I was very clear what I had to say about Tim Schafer, but maybe I wasn't. Maybe some people misunderstood. Maybe there's other people who were just being immature and ignorant. It could be a number of things. So, with that being said, I will address this real quick, okay? There were people who were saying, I don't care about the developers and what they do. It's my hard-earned money, and I'll spend it and do what I want with it. Okay. So, that's the card you want to play, all right? The hard-earned money card. That's fine. You want to play that game? I'll play that game with you real quick, okay? So, I'll start with one part. If it's your hard-earned money, now don't get me wrong, all right? All of us, it's hard, we make our money, it's hard-earned. We want to make sure that we have the best amount of quality for the money that we're giving towards a product, right? But as we know with Tim Schafer and Double Fine, they have a problem with bringing out high-quality products, okay? But that's not what I'm getting at here, okay? If it's your hard-earned money, all right, and you care and you cherish it so much, you would think that you would look into it more and realize when someone is conning you out of your hard-earned money. Now, with that being said, all right, for those who have not seen as of late, all right, Tim Schafer and Double Fine has put money into advertising Psychonauts 2 to ask you for more money. That's right. So, let me get this straight. You're asking for more money from fans. You take the money from fans to put into advertising to ask for more money. And you're going to sit here and tell me it's not a con. Is that what you want to do? And the proof is out there. Because we've seen it on Twitter. It's like, you've got to be kidding me that you're still not doing your research before spending your hard-earned money. Because that's what you would do, right? You would look into it first and see, hey, look, I'm being duped out of my money or not. That's the card you want to play? That's fine. Now, I want to address the other part, where you say, you don't care. You don't care what these developers do. I thought I made it very clear last week that when you do things like that, you're just giving them a free pass to act like idiots, all right? To act like any way they want. Just very disgusting, But, fine. If you don't care, then why are you here? That's the question, if you don't care. I said it before, and I've said it again, and maybe this is the part where it's immature. Because if you don't care, I will say it to you again. Sometimes it's not about you. That's right. I know it's a little hard pill to swallow, all right? But it's not about you all the time. With that being said, I guess that can move on, because if you're going to keep thinking it's always about you, then that's being very self-centered. And that would roll right into the segment with SJWs. Mind you, the money that you're giving Tim Schafer, SJW as well. Okay? Yeah. But, let's go on. I want to talk about one scumbag Steve. That's right. Now, before I get started, a number of you have sent me messages saying, you know what, Vet, you can't even call Wu Scumbag Steve anymore due to the fact of what happened with Allison Prime. Now, I will make this very clear. I have a good, solution to this. So from now on, I won't call Wu Scumbag Steve. I'm going to call Wu Scumbag Prime. How about that? So Scumbag Prime it is. You just leveled up, chick. Oh, wait. Woman, guy. It doesn't matter. You just leveled up, gamer. Girl? It doesn't matter. You leveled up. Anyways, I want to move on. And I want to talk about this, because Scumbag Prime has said that it is okay to make money off of activism. That's right. And cites that Sean King, it's okay for what he's doing because you should be able to make a living off of fake outrage. It seems like Scumbag Prime and many people don't understand what activism really is. Because if you go back in the times, those people who were, dead set on changing things and helping society, they didn't get paid to do it. You've got to be kidding me if you think it's okay to sit here and say, I'm only doing this because I'm making money. And when the money goes away, you walk away. And we've seen that before. Hello, Lee Alexander. But, with that being said, you have to understand that you're citing Sean King. This is the same Sean King, Scumbag Prime, that you're vouching for, that we found out is a white person posing to be black. That's right, we found this out. And then we found out that the money that was given to him, all right, in his so-called, his organization or whatever, is fake. So he took the money and ran. With that being said, if anyone hasn't seen Sean King's Twitter as of late, he's deleted pretty much all of his tweets because of all the backlash that he is getting. Now, for those who don't understand this as well, Scumbag Prime lately has gone to her fans, his fans, her fans, does not matter, to her fans, and has told her fans to go around and flag videos. That's right, that addresses Scumbag Prime. That's right. And you have to deem it as hate speech. Now, a lot of people have been messaging me and telling me, you should watch out for these things. And I said, it's not a problem. You want to know why? Because I have a disclaimer from Scumbag Prime herself. That's right. Should we get started with this? Because this is what gives me free reign to say these type of things. All right? Remember when you said this, Scumbag Prime? That's my disclaimer. Because, as Scumbag Prime says, you should recognize your privilege, miss. I get $200,000 out of nowhere from my parents. That's right, to start up a company, because, everyone just has that. Recognize your privilege. Number 2, educate self and structural racism. Yeah, you should. You should. But there's more. Number 3, amplify black voices. That's right. And number 4, shut mouth and listen. So, with that being said, that is my disclaimer. Because right now, Scumbag Prime, you should be shutting your mouth and listening. Let me say this right now. As of late, you have been on Twitter talking about Black Lives Matter, and I support it, and blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. As a black person, shut the fuck up. Shut up. You do not help that cause at all. All right? I understand that you want to latch on to whatever, so that you can get more followers, because that's all it is for you. Because we should know at the end of the month, you always pull this crazy trick, so that people can keep donating to you, because you need money. That's what it comes down to, professional activist. But you have to also understand, when it comes to this, we don't need you. We don't. No. We don't. And that's what you're failing to realize, because you hurt things more than you help. That's, once again, bitter pill to swallow probably, but that's the truth. Now, if anyone wants to say, oh, this is hate speech going on right now, like I said, that is my disclaimer every time. And I didn't even have to make that. You know what I mean? That was all Scumbag Prime herself. So you just gave me free reign to say anything what I want, especially this freedom of speech thing, because as far as I'm concerned, I haven't said anything that's so grotesque about you. So as far as I'm concerned, this is just, if you want to take it to an extreme, it's just harsh criticism. But I'm calling you on your bullshit. Because you got to be kidding me that you're going to sit here and say, it's okay to make money off of activism. You're making money off of the pain of others that are suffering. People who are actually oppressed. You understand that, right? And that's the problem. With that being said, let's talk about the flip-flopping of all this issue. And I cannot wait to talk about it. I love this. I'm going to love this part. I'm going to love this part so much. That's right. So, for those who don't know, people are upset with Bayonetta. And they've been upset with Bayonetta about a week now. And it's not even about, the announcement that just came not too long ago, which we will talk about. Okay? For those who don't know, I believe, it was a Gamer X? I'm not sure it was. I don't even care what, convention it was. I don't care what panel it is. But I'm going to show you exactly what hate, because that's what we're talking about now, hate speech or whatever. I'm going to show you exactly what hate really looks like when you sit here and say that Bayonetta scares straight white males. That's what hate looks like. Because I put it like this. No way do you target somebody's race or gender simply for a character. Mind you, a character that has never come out and said this themselves, or the creators in the writing. For you to sit and say that a specific race and gender is being targeted, guess what? That is hate. It is. And it's sad that these people get a chance to get on a fucking panel. This is why I don't respect panels, alright? Because you got these people who they'll just get anybody to get on a fucking panel and say whatever bullshit they want, and they're never called out on it because their audience are already a bunch of fucking seals. That's why. You've got to be kidding me that this was okay to say on a panel, and everyone's just like, Okay. No one calls it out at all. You know, Gamer X is supposed to be for everyone. Everyone! Even though I find it funny that they labeled it Gamer X because it is for a specific demographic, but it says in their guidelines it is for everyone. For you to point out somebody, specific race and gender, and say that character scares the hell out of them, when, mind you, just not too long ago, it was the opposite, right? Because I believe Anita called it a fighting fuck toy, and then it was only for male gays. So first, Bayonetta isn't female empowerment, and you say that she was only designed because for the sexual pleasure of straight gamers. Then you say that Bayonetta is empowering, and that she scares the shit out of straight male gamers. What? Look, I'll put it like this. Look. If you SJW is going to make this shit up, the least you can do is be consistent and on the same page. Matter of fact, let's look at it, side by side, pretty much, to see exactly how hypocritical you actually are. So sexist gamer dudes aren't uncomfortable at all with Bayonetta, but then all of a sudden she scares the shit out of them. I find it really funny that the gaming community, men and women, they all praise and hail Bayonetta. The only people who keep making this shit up and try to divide you with this fake outrage are these people who clearly haven't played the games. Now, with that being said, talking about not playing the games, as we know, Bayonetta has been announced for Smash, has she not? That's right, and everyone has been like, yes, Bayonetta, let's go. We've seen some salty people in the Smash community here and there. It's been pretty funny. But then you have these SJWs once again who are going to decide that Bayonetta is gross and should not be in Smash. So bring a character into a fighting game is now gross. Well, what are we, 5 now? Oh, she's gross. She's going to give me cooties. You've got to be kidding me. When you're saying that Bayonetta is gross, not because she can't fight or whatever, but you're specifically looking at her because of her sexuality. You are shunning, you are shaming female sexuality. You understand it? As a female, yes, you are shaming other female sexuality. So how is this for equality or women empowerment that you're doing this? Because the last I checked, when we see these rallies and these women get together, they take off their shirts, they're pretty much naked, and they tell you, don't tell me how to dress. But now you're going to shun and shame sexuality. I find this funny, and I brought up before about how this person, I said these people in general, how they don't play games, alright? Because I want you to see that this person considers themselves an esports enthusiast. So if you're an esports enthusiast, alright, you would know that Bayonetta was in Anarchy Reigns, which for those who know is a brawler and has had its tournaments. That's right, so it is esports. But, for this enthusiast, apparently, they didn't say anything then, did they? They didn't say anything then. But now, it's a big deal. You're only making it a big deal due to the fact that everyone has been jumping on this train of hating Bayonetta simply for her sexuality. You should be ashamed of yourself. And it also tells me that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But let's move on, shall we? That's right. Nintendo, as we know, announces Bayonetta for Smash. Ryu, Cloud, and Bayonetta amiibos are coming in 2016. That's right. Also, for those who don't know, Nintendo is preparing a free-to-play amiibo game for the WiiU and 3DS. That's right. Also, in more news, that's right, Super Smash Bros. DLC will be ending very soon. Now, look, do I have a problem with Bayo being in this game? Hell no. Not at all. For those who play Anarchy Reigns and know Bayo, overpowered, OP as fuck, and Bayonetta knows it, and does not care. And that's the thing. If you want to call a character gross due to the fact that maybe they're just low tier or whatever, something like that, that's fine. But when you're sitting here and you're saying they're gross simply because of their design and because of her sexuality, that's disgusting. You actually set back your own movement. You do. Alright? But there's more. I want to talk more about this because we're on this, oh, this is so gross. Well, this person shouldn't be in this, or we've got to censor things. Let's talk Capcom, shall we? That's right. Street Fighter V was censored to keep T rating. Family, because this is what Capcom says. They want to keep it as a family-friendly franchise. Now, the last I checked, when you want to sit here and you want to censor Armika or Cammy or whoever, alright, and you want to come up with this bullshit excuse that it's about a family-friendly franchise, you know, I can't remember the last time Street Fighter got an M rating. Anyone? No? That's right, because it's always been T for teen. You know what? I remember, Capcom, when you put this guy in Third Strike. Oh my God, my feels. I can feel the masculinity just draining out of me. I don't know if I can get through this video without that character being censored. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Matter of fact, what did Third Strike, what was the rating for Third Strike? T for fucking teen. You've been doing this shit for years, Capcom. Ain't no one complaining, no one cared then. All of a sudden, you got a bunch of fucking sensitive snowflakes that are coming out of nowhere who aren't going to buy your game anyway. That's right, because they're not going to buy your game. And now you're going to kneel to them. Now all of a sudden, we need to start censoring things. Get the fuck out of here. Tell it for what it is, Capcom. You are afraid. And I find this funny because for years and years, your own community, no matter what game, they have told you, we don't like this game, you need to change this, this is not going to sell, this is horrible, and what did you do, Capcom, for years? What did you do? We don't give a fuck what you guys think. That's what you did. Now all of a sudden, it's a big deal. Don't tell me all of a sudden you opened up your big fucking ears and said, we're just going to listen. No, because that's not what you did. Because if that's the case, we'd have a Devil May Cry already. We'd have another Onimusha already. And I'm not trying to hear you trademarking for Onimusha Online. I'm not trying to hear that shit. Alright? We're talking about an actual Onimusha. And there's a number of other IPs that fans have said they will throw money to you. Where's Darkstalkers at? Where'd they ever go? Huh? Yeah. I guess if they saw Felicia these days, oh my God, it's gotta be censored. Or Morgan, oh my God, we gotta censor Morgan as well. You've gotta be kidding me. Capcom, you've done it for years. Don't give me this shit. This is a bullshit excuse, and you know it. But you know what? I want to move on. Let's talk about more Russell Jimmy, shall we? Let's talk about it. Nitroplus Blasters. Let's get into this. Now, some of you had asked me, alright? Or, you know, for those who don't know what that means, a.k.a. Waifu Fighter. That's right. But let's rustle some jimmies. Now, this game is really fun. A lot of people ask me, you know, how I felt about it since I played it. Really fun. I'll put it like this. The characters, there's an array of characters. They all play to a specific skill set. You know what I mean? Like, some have distance, some don't. There's some you really have to get close up on. Sonico, I noticed, is so adorable. I mean, nothing but kitten attacks, okay? Yeah, kitten attacks. But I have to say this now. This game can also, at times, be very unforgiving. It can be. If you thought that Blade Arcus was unforgiving, this game can really get you if you know what you're doing. And like I said, this game's been out for, what, a week now, maybe? And already we are seeing videos like this. Mind you, that of course that's against the computer and they're not moving. And if you get a new player and they're blocking and they get caught, you can probably catch them with half of that. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, it's crazy to see. Now, of course, I haven't had much time, as much as I would like to play, but I use Ignis, and, you know, I'm still trying to work around what assists I need to use with that, you know, for that character. And, but still, having fun with the game. I think the game is great. As usual, you're going to have these bosses. Now, don't get me wrong. The final boss, as we know in fighting games, are usually super cheap. They are, alright? This one's not too bad, but if the boss catches you, that's, once again, example, if the boss catches you, yeah, that's it. You know what I mean? You're going to get racked up for a lot. I'm just letting you know that now. So, as far as I'm concerned, this game is worth playing. It's really fun. The level competition, I can't gauge the level competition yet due to the fact that for anyone who's seen on Twitter, Boltstrike's been playing. He's been streaming. He streams like five hour streams on this game online, and no competition really online. It's almost non-existent right now. Maybe people are just, you know, playing single player and honing their skills, and Bolt actively, you know, seeks out people on Twitter and says, hey, do you want to play, or things of that nature. So he has to seek out people just to find someone to play. So, while of course he's training like a fucking mad scientist at home, and he knows what I'm talking about. He sits there, he plays for 5 hours, and he will pick apart every little piece of a character to make sure he knows what he can juggle and what he can loop and that's a dangerous man right there. Just saying, alright? But still, the game is fun. Even if you were just a casual and playing this game, I can see yourself playing this game. The way, when I first saw this game, the way the sprites are built, I thought, and bear with me, for those who know what I'm talking about from back in the day, Ranma Half, Super Nintendo. That's what it reminded me of. You know what I mean, at first. And then when you start to find out the system, you learn the system a bit. It's like, okay, this can work. You start putting it together. So, for me, as I'm old school. As soon as I get a game, I will go into story mode. I won't look at tutorials really fast or training mode. I just go into it and try to figure out while I'm defending and things of that nature. Old school, old school learning. So that's just me. The game is definitely worth it. I know that the game comes out, next year? Here, a Western release next year, but the Japanese release is now. So I put it like this: if you want to get good at the game before the West, the West gets a chance to, touch it, I would say get the Japanese version. It's worth it, as far as I'm concerned. Now I want to move on. I want to talk about things that are a little weird. Now, Tekken 7. That's right. Tekken 7. We've seen the trailer for Tekken 7. We've also seen a lot of idiots react, oh my god, Akuma did it, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, they put a huge plot hole in this fucking game when I saw that trailer. Now, with that being said, I want to talk about how, as we've heard so far, alright, don't know if it's confirmed yet, but that Tekken vs. Street Fighter is canceled. That's what we've heard, alright? This is why Akuma is in Tekken, alright? With that being said, I don't know if you want to call him Akuma, Goki, whatever you want to call him, alright? With that being said, if you're watching this trailer, they go in there decades ago. They go into current and then they flashback decades ago. They asked Akuma to kill Heihachi and Kazuya. And I'm thinking to myself, you're just going to shoehorn that in decades ago at a side story that nobody talked about before. All of a sudden, we're just supposed to be like, okay, he's in. You know what I mean? Come on. If you know the Tekken story, look, it's already goofy as it is, because I put it like this. When you're playing the first Tekken and you're throwing people off the cliff, they shouldn't survive anyway, okay? And then they come back and you throw the next person off the cliff and they survive. So, yeah, okay? It's like, come on. But just to come out of nowhere and just be like, yes, this happened decades ago and we're just going to shoehorn it in. That's what it feels like. It really does. But, of course, fan service, people freaked out. Oh my god, it's Akuma. And I'm just thinking to myself, this doesn't make much sense, but okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with Akuma being in the game. I don't. But to tie him into a story that's canon, that doesn't sit very well with me. It doesn't. Unless someone can tell me I missed something along those other Tekkens that could have possibly, you know what I mean, had a slight little opening that says, yeah, this is possible that it happened. Maybe I missed something, alright? But for what I saw in that trailer, I was like, get the fuck out of here. They're just going to shoehorn them in. That's how I felt, okay? Anyways, I want to move on, and I want to talk about NEC. That's right, NEC. Now, I told you before, because I talked about this, how NEC was coming up, and how us old school vets, I wouldn't say me, because I really don't have that much of a problem, but I understand the other vets here in Philadelphia have a problem. I explained this before about how they feel as though it's lack of respect and things of that nature, and they won't support NEC. Okay? With that being said, what happened at NEC? Chris G, once again, didn't show up for his time during the tournament. That's right. For 2.5 to 3 hours, and they didn't DQ him. If you don't believe me, there was already talks about it on Twitter. That top player treatment, though. See, and this is why nobody cares anymore. This is why. Because for everyone who wants to yell esports and, being professional, like I said, all right, you want to be professional? All right, fine. You know what happens to professional athletes when they don't show up? We're talking professional athletes. All they got to do is be late to practice. Not a game. Not a game. You're talking practice, all right? You know what would happen? They would get benched. They would get fined. There would be a number of problems, all right? We're talking about a person who didn't show up during the brackets of the game, and you have people sitting around and waiting 2.5, 3 hours, and they're hungry, and you're telling me if those people leave, they'll be DQ'd if he shows up, but he can sit around and take his sweet-ass time. This is the problem that we are having. He should have clearly been DQ'd a long time ago, all right? I don't even give a shit if he was late for an hour. DQ. You have a time schedule. You have all these people waiting. People have things to do. You cannot hold them like this. But if they leave, oh, it's on them, right? If we're going to talk about professionalism, and this is something that needs to be addressed, there's no defending this. All right? There's not. I don't give a shit who's a top player, who thinks they're a rock star. That's the problem today. I've been telling you for fucking how long? Who gives a shit who these names are? You play, whoever's there to play, let them play. And if they don't show up during their time, then guess what? Fuck them. Fuck them. It'd be one thing if someone was hurt or in a hospital or if there was some type of serious problem. And then you can say, okay, all right, look, this person, they're not going to be able to make it. You feel bad for it and all. But, the show must go on. You know that. But then you're going to hold up everything and all these people because one person didn't shit the fuck out of here. But when I say this, of course, I'll be the bad guy, right? For saying common sense. And then y'all wonder why. Like I said, people don't take you fucking seriously because of these things. And you know what? You have to look at the tournament, the TOs on this. You have to. Organizers definitely have a problem with this. It's one of those things where if you have the staff, once again, you have staff manned at certain places, and some places don't have all that staff. So there can be a miscommunication. But when gamers are clearly telling you, look, this person hasn't shown up for 2.5 hours, let's get the show on the road, and you're still saying no after they brought it to your attention, there's a problem. Like I said, it's an absolute joke what's going on. Like I said, the community, you can easily buckle down on this. Like I said, you let your voices be heard. And say, look, if this happens again, or look, I'm not coming next year because of such and such. That's what you do. But it seems like another person said, maybe it's because of stream numbers. We have talked about that in the past now, haven't we? Especially after MomoCon. Like I said, there's a reason why a lot of people in the FGC who still play fighting games hate the FGC. Because of this behavior. Like I said, I've never seen this type of treatment or this type of behavior, you know what I mean, until, for a couple years. It only started happening a couple years ago. Because, like I said, when we were in tournaments, when we were doing this shit, we were going back and forth and traveling to places, people was cool. You know what I mean? We didn't have this problem. Now we have people who think they're so fucking Hollywood, that they're such fucking stars. Once again, you play video games. You're not a fucking star. Alright? Let's call it what it is. If you want to be a star, go to Hollywood. Alright? Go do something. You're playing video games. That's what you're doing. And while you may be good at video games, understand that's where it is. Because if Chris G walked down the street, no one would know who the fuck he is. The fact is, this type of behavior has to go. It has to go. But when you have people who are fans, and I've always said it's okay to be a fan of said player, just don't start kissing ass. You have to call them on. You have to be critical. Like any other sports fan. You're critical of your team, aren't you? Same thing. If you're a fan of someone, you're critical of them regardless. It's just... Come on, man. Come on. Like I said, the common sense, though. It's not going to... Because people are just going to get automatically upset and say, how dare you? Whatever. Fuck it. Whatever. Let's move on. Let's talk about EA. And their... bullshit, that's right. For those who don't know, EA is launching its own competitive gaming division headed by Peter Moore. Peter Moore, you are such a sack of shit. It's just fucking pathetic. For how long have I and many others told you you should take Fight Night and you should take UFC and you should talk to these people in the FGC and get it put in? You should do this. I believe they put Victorious Boxers in not too long ago in the FGC. But you're going to tell me that you have these AAA fighting games because it's fighting. Don't tell me it's just a sport. It is fighting. It's fighting. And you don't put it in that community to make more numbers? You're a fucking idiot. So let me get this straight, Peter Moore. Let me just guess on what your competitive gaming scene is going to look like. Battlefield, you'll possibly bring back Medal of Honor, Star Wars. Right? That's going to be your big three. Because you got to make sure that the first-person shooters are in there, right? Because it makes so much money and they're so popular. And you want to keep advertising to make sure that the kiddies eat them up, right? It is a joke. It is. Competitive gaming can be all across the board. From fighting games to first-person shooters to fucking puzzle games. It can always be competitive. Alright? But for Peter Moore, and we know how Peter Moore is, because we've caught him a number of times lying to people. And last week, there's embarrassment of riches for 2017. We're just blushing. It's a rich problem to have. It's amazing that this is going to be what it is, because you should know it's almost feel like it's going to be a parody of what other tournament organizers have already done. That's what it's going to feel like. Oh yeah, and more news. DICE has confirmed that it's working on the next Battlefield. Like we didn't see that shit coming. It better be bad company, because if not, fuck it. Just letting you know that. Alright? Let's move on, shall we? Let's talk about the future of Sony. That's right. And this is where you fans play a part. You do. Alright? So, Sony has said that on the future of Infamous, right? Sony executive has said on the future of Infamous, we're never going to retire an IP, right? Because they asked what was the future of it. And he just came out and said that we're never going to retire an IP, which means that any IP that they own, they haven't retired. Which means, fans, if you want specific IPs, you're going to have to push them. I remember Legend of Dragoon not being pushed more. Sony, you could do that. I'm just saying there's a number of games that you still have the IPs to that aren't being used. And it's sad that you still want to have this AAA bullshit when you could be feeding every genre to feed even more of your PS4, community. Like I said, fans, this one is up to you. You're going to have to make your voices known and let Sony know what is going on and what games you want from the past. And speaking of the past, I want to talk about this. Sony is taking suggestions for backwards compatibility PS2 games on PS4. Fuck you and your PS2 compatibility, because you screwed the fans on this one. You could have easily made it disc backwards compatible. No, didn't want to do that. You pretty much just told people you're just going to rebuy your games again. That's what you did for the PS2, on PS4. And people said, no, we're not going to deal with that. That's right. So while you can, fans, give suggestions on, on future games, on when it comes to PS4 games and AAA games that they could pull from the past and make, from scratch and just continue on, that legacy. Now you have people saying that they're upset with the fact that they want suggestions on what to bring out. I put it like this, Sony. If you listen to your fans anyway, you would know what to bring out. But now you have to take suggestions because you really aren't listening. And there's some more news for Sony. Oh, yeah. Sony temporarily raises digital game prices ahead of launching new PS Store promotion, which is a buy one, get one free. So let me get this straight. You can buy one and you'll get a game free, but we're going to raise the price on that one game to even out. Bad business, Sony. You just don't know when to stop, do you? If you're going to have a buy one, get one free, you leave it at the price that it's already. If it's a game, let's say it's at $20, and you're raising the price so that... No, stop. That's not how buy one, get one works. It's not. But leave it to Sony and leave it to fans who are going to support this. We got more news. Sony. That's right. And I want people to listen up really, really well, because we talked about the SJW stuff already. We've talked about censoring. We've talked about, what's so gross in the sexuality, and oh my God, my feels. And we talked, I believe, last week about Dead or Alive Extreme 3. And for those who have watched other Cornballs videos and people who have said things on Twitter, they've said, this isn't the SJW's fault, their fault. They had nothing to do with it. Hell, even Anime News Network started censoring posts on their forums because they don't want to blame social justice warriors, right? Well, Sony Head says that DOA Extreme 3 is not coming to the West because of cultural differences, because they see that the complaints that have been happening as of late. They even reference the fact that Dragon's Crown, which a lot of people, like myself, love Dragon's Crown, okay? They said that it got low scores from the gaming media simply because of these issues of sexism. We've seen this before. So now you have a company coming out and saying, yes, this is because of social justice warrior gaming media pressure. It is. And you can't sit here and tell me now that this is just a conspiracy to hurt down, to knock down the SJW and things. No, now we have the companies saying, no, this is the reason. It's the reason. Okay? So, cultural differences. No, it's not cultural differences, because not everyone in the West feels that way. It's that simple. Like I said, once again, you were talking to people, you were bowing down to people who aren't going to buy your game anyway. They're not your audience. Just like they said, gamers don't have to be your audience. These people who don't play fucking games aren't your audience. Let's move on in more of this sensitive news, shall we? Uncharted 4 director won't apologize for casting a white actor in a black role. Now, we've seen a lot of people get upset about this. A lot of people are calling racism. It's racist because you have a white actor, female, playing a black female. Now, there's nothing wrong with this because they casted this woman as an actress because of how well she could read the lines before they decided that this character was black. Now, anybody who knows anything about writing, it's a 50-50 gamble when you hear that excuse. Because when you're writing for characters and things of that nature, and I believe I've talked about this before, yes, in my old animation videos, when you are writing for a specific character, you need to have the character bio sheet, the character Bible for it. Which means that you need to have the character's traits, their name, their traits, their upbringing, things. You have to give them a small example for the actor so they know exactly what type of character that they're dealing with, how to get in that type of person, you know what I mean, how to be in that situation. You also need to have, I guess later, then this is where the 50-50 comes in, all right, in animation and character design, where you have animators who will give you the character, Bible sheet, which means that you'll have the 5 type of, it's actually 3 these days. They don't even do 5 anymore. You have 3 characters. So, I mean, you have a 3 design character, which means you have the front of them, the back of them, and then the 3/4 turn of that character. So you know what the character looks like. Like I said, you have to dive into the psyche of that character. This is what they give you, all right? That's the 50 half. The other 50 half is that people don't do this right away. So what it means is they'll give you the character Bible, you'll have the upbringing, you'll have all this type of stuff, which is written, but you won't have a physical appearance just yet. So it's a 50-50. It depends on, like I said, that's part of the business, all right, part of the animation business. And the same thing with video games. They do the same thing, okay? That's some education for those who don't understand how this works. I know I kind of just blew through it, but I have done this in detail in my old animation videos. I have actually shown you character Bibles and character sheets physically. I put them up to the camera so you can see what I'm talking about, okay? But, with that said, if the company is saying that they had no idea what the character looks like, I'll accept that because, like I said, that's part of the business. Do I have a problem with a white actor playing a black character? No. Because it's been done before. It's been done in Hollywood so many times. It's been done in animation so many times. And no one bitched about that, did they? No. Not at all. But now, video games, because these people, these sensitive fucking snowflakes, are coming around saying that this person should be played by a black actor because they're black. Which then also raises a flag that maybe you're perpetuating racism yourselves. Because you're trying to say they need to sound more ethnic. You could say that. Because, we've seen every once in a while where, a person who is of color will speak proper, and then we'll hear, well, you're talking white. Why are you talking that way? Perpetuating racism. It goes both ways. It does. I don't have a problem with this. I don't feel as though the director should have to apologize for this. I feel they should do what they want. It's that simple. All right? Now, if they get something wrong, and let's just say the white actor pronounces something wrong that would be, let's just say, of ethnicity, all right, and just botches it, you know what's going to happen? We're just going to fucking laugh. That's all we're going to do. You messed up. That's it. We're not going to be like, oh my God, they represented the entire character wrong and the race wrong, and you should be ashamed. No. We're going to fucking laugh at it, and that's going to be the end of it. Unreal. Speaking of sensitive snowflakes, we got to talk about this as well. Because I don't understand this. Maybe some of you can explain it to me. Star Citizen passes $100 million in funding. The fuck is up with Star Citizen? Seriously. I've seen what people have said on Twitter, and I've seen like these videos, and it's almost, I don't want to call it that, but it almost seems very cultish. It's like, what has this game done to people that they deserve $100 million in funding? Not to mention that we have so many charities out there for gaming, and they don't even get that much. But you're willing to give these people $100 fucking million just to let you know, game's done quick. It's coming back around the corner in January. So for all you gamers that are throwing all this money, at Star Citizen, $100 million, You're going to give them a lot. You're going to give them 100 million as well, right? You know, because that actually goes to saving lives, right? You know that, right? Not just, we're just going to build a game. I just want to make sure. I'm going to keep count on that just to see how much money they make. And usually, games go quick. They make a lot of money. Games done quick make a lot of money. I congratulate them. They're some skilled gamers. But if you're giving a game like Star Citizen $100 million, and you have gamers who are actually putting their skills to the test and saving lives, and they get less than that, yeah, I'm going to call bullshit on that. You damn right I'm going to. Let's move on. Let's talk about more bullshit now. Done with the sensitive stuff, okay? Destiny booster packs. That's right. Destiny's coming out with booster packs, and they're going to cost you gamers, you know, because on top of the expansions, on top of admitting that they're going to hit you with the fuck with microtransaction events, this is going to cost you $30. That's right. And to a lesser extent, $25. And the Destiny community is defending this. You know, all this talk about my precious monies, my hard-working monies. You've got to be kidding me that you're still supporting this. They're getting you in every angle. Booster packs, microtransactions, expansion packs. Come on. Are you really going to keep falling for this cash cow? Because that's what it is. They're just doing it to rake in your money. It's ridiculous, man. I just don't... Maybe it's me. Maybe I just don't see, you know, the fact that, oh, this is quality. The boost my... It's a fucking booster pack. That's all it is. Come on, man. Destiny community is at a loss at this point. It's hard to watch. It is. Because every little thing that they come out with and say you're gonna make you pay for it, you just flock to it. You just run to it. And then you get so mad that people call you sheep and all this stuff. You're proving them right. You do understand that, right? Now, of course, this is not all Destiny players. It's not. But for what we've seen so far, a majority of the community is defending this. There is no reason to defend this shit. They're just getting you for your money every fucking time. Every time. Let's move on. Square Enix. That's right. Romancing Saga will be coming to mobile in Japan. Yeah, go figure. Yeah. Square also says that Final Fantasy VII Remake will go beyond the original narrative. So they are going to flesh out this story. Now, we don't know if that's going to be for the better or for the worse, but we will find out once the game hits. Just to let you know. Alright? Also, in more Nintendo news, Super Mario Galaxy has been rated for the Wii U. That's right. So it's coming to the eShop. So for those who have been looking forward to it, there you go. Also, Silent Hill. Let's talk Silent Hill. First off, there's no game coming. No game, alright? Relax. Silent Hill voice actress is doing work for a new horror game. They haven't said what horror game yet, but just to let you know, there's now a horror game in the process being made, and we should be looking forward to that. Okay? Now, also, big news since we're on this Konami train, I guess. Kojima Productions. You know what? I think it's almost wrong at this point, to link Kojima and Konami after everything that's happened, and now Kojima is going solo. Kojima Productions has announced an official partnership with Sony. That's right. So now he will be making games with Sony. I think it's going to be exclusive more, because since it's a partnership, it'll be exclusive. We will see what happens in the future. I guess now we don't have to worry about looking at the VGAs and looking at that sad. Pretty much, it was an obituary. Let's be honest here. I had said this before. When they were like, our thoughts and prayers are with you, Kojima, that you couldn't be here because the lawyers wouldn't let you come to the VGAs, but we're here for you. Like he was dead or sick or something. Like, are you serious? Like, he just didn't show up. He just couldn't show up. That's it. All right? Relax. And that's the thing. You have to understand that now that he is back, and obviously he's not going to waste any time, I think he's going to come back. I think if anything, after everything has happened, he's going to come back with a vengeance, man. Maybe a revengeance. We'll see. But he's going to come back. I think he's going to bring out the cannons for his next game. I really think he is. Anyways, I also want to move on in some bad news. All right, we have some bad news, and I think some people, you say, well, we haven't had enough bad news. Yeah, I know, but there's some bad news, and you need to check your accounts. Okay, 77,000 Steam accounts have been hacked every month, and new security measures are being deployed. So please, if you have Steam, check your account. Make sure everything is on the up and up. Okay. Also, in other news, all right. Since we're talking about hacks, we're having hackers already say that they're going to try and take down Xbox Live and the PSN during Christmas. That's right. It's almost becoming Christmas tradition now, huh? That every year hackers are going to try and knock this down when it comes to your game. So everyone who's going to open their new shiny presents and they want to put in, they probably got a PS4 and they want to have it hooked up and they want to play a game online, and then the service is down. So yeah, that's going to be a problem. So just keep an eye out for it. We will see what happens. But like I said, it's almost becoming a Christmas tradition, or should we say being a Grinch? But we'll see. Anyways, I am done. Just want to let you know that it's been pretty fun today. I had some fun, but they say you got to call bullshit on these companies. You got to stop caving to people who don't give a shit about your company, who have never bought your products. Hell, we've even seen tweets earlier today about Bayonetta where they blame Nintendo for creating such a bad character in Bayonetta. And it's like, Nintendo didn't even create Bayonetta! But it goes to show you that these people have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. They don't. They just want to hate, just because it's the thing to do. It's the cool thing to do. Jump on the trend. If a bunch of people who label themselves feminists, and let's be honest here, this is all about fake outrage for money. It is. And you have those people. And they sit here and say, this character is bad. And you think to yourself, well, you know what? The millions and millions of gamers across the world, male and female, don't think so. But of course, it only takes a couple idiots to spoil the bunch, right? This is what I mean about how these people shouldn't be taken seriously. I don't know how they keep jobs. We've seen how they have slandered. We've seen how they flat out lied. We see how bigoted and racist they are. And this is what bothers me about the gaming industry. The industry itself. Because you let this happen. That's why I'm glad at one point we're now seeing that media outlets are being blacklisted because of the way they act. But mind you, it's only because of what they've done to their product, not because of what they stand for. Let's get that straight. So the industry still doesn't have a problem. They'll keep their mouth shut when it comes to bigotry and racism and all these other things. They'll keep their mouth shut. But if you leak something from the products, then they'll say something. Because at the end of the day, it's about money. It's not about morals, if you haven't realized that. And of course, us gamers, they don't care about us either. I can easily go right now to said company on Twitter and say, I'm not buying your product because blah, 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 and I don't like it. And you know what I'll get? I'll get a bunch of, the company won't even respond. I'll get a bunch of fanboys. We don't need you anyway, blah, blah, blah. You're not cool. They will call you every name in the book. That's what they do. So it just goes to show you that you have to understand there is a lot of immaturity. Like I said, not just in our community, not just tournament organizers, not just media. It's also in the industry. The industry will speak up when they feel they're affected, not when the very same consumers that have helped them get to where they're at are attacked. If we're supposed to have their back, because I'm seeing this, million gamers strong hashtag, and we should support Japanese games. I've been supporting Japanese games since I was able to buy them. Matter of fact, when I had a chance to get my hands on one. I don't need a hashtag to say that. It's that simple. But if those Japanese developers aren't sitting here and saying, look, they're attacking a lot of gamers, and fuck these people, because they're hurting our audience. They're attacking our audience. They always have our back. We should have their back. Doesn't go that way. And if it does, since it doesn't go that way, then I'd say fuck them. I would say fuck them. It's that simple. Like I said, don't stick your neck out for people. Or should I say companies in this case. Number one, they don't know your name. I've said this how many times? But don't stick your neck out for others who won't stick their neck out for you. So as far as I'm concerned, like I said, I don't need a hashtag. I don't. I speak for for myself. And I'm sure a lot of people will agree and disagree with me as well. But the fact is, those movements, because that's what it is. We see, all you can do is make a hashtag, and that's the extent of their power. And I'm talking about social justice warriors. Well, the same gamers, guess what? You're using the same methods. You realize that, right? You are. No one is getting up and going to a company and talking to them. No one's really reaching out and saying, hey, look, is there a way that we can talk, whether it's an interview or whatever? No. We see some, I'll say there's some who, have their own media outlets and, they're experienced in it, all right? But majority who just follow a hashtag and say, hey, look, Million Gamer Strong, we're here. No. No. You don't need that. Let your wallet do the talking. That's all you gotta do. Anyways, I'm done for today. Like I said, I think I've seen enough. I think I've talked about it enough. We'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, play your games. Have fun. It's absolutely ridiculous that we're seeing all these people who are so worried about identity, gender identity politics, and this game's being censored, but I wasn't going to buy it anyway, but still it's being censored. Come on. I understand the principle of things. I understand that it shouldn't happen. Because we should be beyond this by now. We should. We're going backwards right now. We are. When it comes to labeling violent video games and sexism and all this in video games, it's the same thing that happened in the mid-2000s. Early to mid-2000s, when you had those crazies up on podiums talking about it. Now, they just infiltrate it and they just do panels on it. And for some reason, that's accepted. If you can't see it for what it is, which is blatant hate and baiting, and I say these conventions who let them do this, you're just as responsible. You are. That's why I said earlier this year, fuck MagFest. You let Arthur Chu come in here and talk shit? Fuck MagFest. Like I said, if this is supposed to be for everyone, then you cut out all hate. And you want to sit here and label Gamergate or anyone else hateful, then you need to look at the other side and realize the things that they have said are hateful as well. You got to play both sides, man. You got to look at it for what it is. Because that's what being truly neutral is. But some people don't understand that. Anyways, I'm done. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. I'm out.